Pitt Sports Talk with Damien Dennis, and I just got told that this song by Sleeping Awake sounds like elevator music.
You're listening to The Pit here on 88.3 WXOU Auburn Hills. I'm Damien Dennis, being joined here in The Pit today by Timothy Pontzer, senior reporter over at the Oakland Post. His favorite title of his life, I guess. Austin Puckett, our glorified Sparty. And we actually got Topher Nowak in here again. Pretty much our glorified Wolverine. This could get a little fun. I can dig this today.
It's on.
So, how is everybody?
Fantastic.
Tim's over there just giving a thumbs up.
Hey, Tim, why don't you do another assignment during the show? That'll be fun.
Yeah, like last week, missed half the show because he's too busy doing homework that he's too lazy to do.
Well, if anybody wants to call in and talk about financial aid, the number is 248-370-4274. I will gladly take quotes for my project that's due Monday.
Nice. So today on the show, we're going to talk about Oakland University hockey, some Red Wings hockey. We actually have the head coach of Oakland University's Division I men's hockey team, Coach Jeremy Bachusz, calling in about 8 minutes or so. We've got Brad Jeffers calling in at 5:40 again to talk some baseball, and then we're obviously going to talk college basketball because, we go to Oakland University and we kind of have to. And not to mention, Mr. Sparty over here should be happy this week.
First place, though. Anybody?
So,
I'm sorry. Where does the leading scorer in the nation go to school?
Oakland.
Yeah.
So, let's talk some Detroit Red Wings here first. 23-game home winning streak. Snapped last night, right?
In a shootout.
Against who?
The Vancouver Canucks.
The second place team in the Western Conference.
In the whole league.
And they're the best team on the road. So
yeah. So
it was kind of fitting that the best team on the road beat the best team at home.
Absolutely.
Very good game. Sedin tied it up with less than a minute left.
On a poor call from the official on the icing penalty. They got the face-off in Detroit's zone off of a very poor call on the icing penalty.
Still got to overcome that and not let the goal in.
But just want to throw that out there.
Of course.
So, it's been a pretty fun ride there for the Red Wings, though. 23 home game winning streak, NHL record. They had it snapped last night by Vancouver.
In a shootout, yeah.
In a shootout. Didn't they win most of those games in a shootout anyway?
Well, they didn't win most of them. I think they won like 3 or 4. And and then there's the argument of whether or not the streak is better or worse than one that happens 30 years ago. I think that's just the way the game's changed. You can't really – it's hard to compare different eras like that and whether one is better than the other. I think that this is a record that'll stand for probably a long time because it's – because of the shootouts, it's hard to be consistent. You can, just like last night, you can have, just a puck not bounce your way. So I think that that's a streak that'll definitely last for a long time, and I think that it's one that should be considered the best.
Because the shootout gives both teams the equal opportunity to win the game. Just because there's no tie available anymore, you still have an equal opportunity to both win and lose the game.
Yep. Well, speaking of teams winning and losing, hey, we gotta move on here. Oakland University hockey. Oh my God, I said hockey.
Ed Hockley, what?
Yeah. No, Oakland University hockey Division I is playing Davenport Panthers tonight in their blackout game for pretty much the series finale for the season for the Good Luck Duck. Now, Austin's picking up his paper, get some stats there.
The Grizzlies are 2-2 against the Panthers this season and 1-1 at the Onyx.
Yep.
So we have the rubber match here in the final Game 5 of the Good Luck Duck series.
Rubber match. I love how you said that.
Yeah,
makes me feel like I'm listening to some kind of pro wrestler.
Pro wrestler?
Yeah.
What? Oakland is 12-18-1 all-time against Davenport, and I know that they're looking forward to the big game tonight.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. When we had the players in last week, they were talking about
Frank Matiak and Billy Ballard.
Right. They'd already locked up their auto bid into nationals, and they were going to play in the conference tournament. And obviously, they wanted to win that, and they ultimately fell short against Adrian in the championship game. But they still are going to nationals, so they had that locked up. And you could tell that they really wanted to win this game against Davenport. And
definitely.
Does it play into the nationals? No, it doesn't. But it's a rivalry game, and it means a lot to both sides. And the Good Luck Duck has determined who has success in nationals.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that both teams will bring their best effort tonight.
Well, from what Jordan McDonald's told me, and I've heard a couple different stories from the other players, that actually, in a way, the Good Luck Duck does have some. I don't know how to say it. It has some kind of like stigma about it, where it does help the team that wins in nationals. But I think it was 2007 when Oakland first became Division I. They won nationals, and that was the first year they won the Good Luck Duck. And every year after that, as a rivalry, they've lost to Davenport, and Davenport I think won the following year after they won. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've heard a couple different stories that Davenport would be. Man, I'm trying to think of how to say it. That Davenport's won nationals, but I've looked it up. I don't think they've actually won nationals, but I think they've been in that game. So
every time they made it to the finals of the Good Luck Duck and won it, they've made at least a solid effort in the tournament and gotten to the national finals. I think that both teams are really looking forward to the game tonight, trying to win the game, get to the nationals, because obviously if you can win this, and Davenport and Oakland are both great teams, they can make it far into the national tournament.
Now, I hate to cut you off there, Austin, but we actually have head coach Jeremy Bachusz on the line right now. How are you, Coach?
Good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Now, you got a big game here tonight against Davenport. This is your blackout game, your series finale. What are you guys doing tonight to get prepared for this game?
Well, we've been preparing, I guess, all week for Davenport, and obviously they're a huge opponent for us and one of our biggest rivals throughout the season. And the guys are pretty excited, and we've got a lot of the guys back that were injured last weekend. We're pretty excited about that, and have some good momentum coming into the game.
Coach, you're 2-2 against the Panthers this season. What do you think you got to do tonight to get the job done and get the win?
Well, the biggest thing for us is starting early in the first period. We got to come out with a better pace than we have in the past, and when we do a good job in the first period, we seem to carry the momentum into throughout the whole game, and that's the biggest thing for us tonight, and getting going right away.
Yeah, Coach, that's in the last game you played against Adrian. You let them score 3 goals in the first period, and ultimately they were able to hold on for the win. Talk about, you're going to have the home crowd behind you tonight. Do you think that that'll be able to spark some momentum going forward?
Yeah, our guys know that we struggle throughout games, as I said, if we don't start on time. And with tonight being senior night, it's pretty hard not to get excited, especially the home crowd tonight. We're expecting a lot of people here, and hopefully the blackout works out well, and people are excited to watch us play. And I'm pretty excited about tonight, and I think our guys will be ready.
Coach, out of all the players you've got on this team, you've got a lot of high scorers. You got a lot of players who are able to get assists, points. Who do you think is going to make the biggest impact here tonight?
That's yet to be seen. I'm not too sure. We do get Billy Balance back tonight. He's healthy. We have Jeffrey Scheuer that's going to be coming back. We're worried about losing him tonight. David Merkel's coming back in the lineup, and all these guys are high energy guys that are definitely going to make an impact tonight. Obviously, Dustin Hoffner's had a tremendous season for us. We need him to step up and play big on the blue line, as well as Jacob Stano.
Coach, you got 7 players that average a point or more per game. Do you think that a lot of those players are seniors? Do you think that they're going to step up tonight and play well just because it's their final home game?
I sure hope so. With 7 guys having more than a point a game or averaging a point a game is definitely a good thing. And we have a little bit more depth than we've had in the past. And that gives us an opportunity to have different guys step up every night and not always count on the same guys.
Coach, between the 2 goalies, who's starting in net tonight, Matt or Corey?
Corey's actually going to be in the net tonight. Coder's been battling the flu all week. Wow. Unfortunately, he's not doing too well. And the good thing for us is that we have a choice between 2 good goaltenders, and we know that Corey will do a good job tonight. We're confident of him.
Wow. All right.
You know, I got a question. Going to go a little bit, not so much off topic, but a little bit off track. I was talking to Austin over here before we came on air. He doesn't know quite the history of the Good Luck Duck, and I've heard a few different stories. And I passed it along to Tim, who's sitting over here as well. I was just wondering if you could give us a more accurate history of this rivalry, and more importantly, the Duck itself.
Well, the rivalry dates back before the Duck actually started. But just so you know, I mean, I don't actually know how we acquired the Duck in the first place, but it was in our locker room, back actually 2007, and that year the guys took a lot of pride in painting the OU colors, and Davenport, when they came to play us, they actually beat us at home, and while we weren't looking, a couple of their players came into our room and stole the Duck from us. And that was obviously the guys didn't take that too lightly. And we went back to play them at home the following night. And our guys actually walked right in the locker room and took it right back from them. So the coaches kind of stepped in and told the guys to knock it off a bit, so we didn't have any fights off the ice. And we decided that since our rivalry is so good, we should use this Duck as a motivation piece for our team's rivalry throughout the years. And that's pretty much how it started.
Now, I've heard a couple different stories about how the Good Luck Duck, how it got its name, is basically because it helps whichever team wins the series. It helps them in the national tournament. I know Oakland won in 2007. I don't know quite the exact story because I've heard so many different things. Has Davenport actually won nationals every year that they've won the Duck, or have they made it to the championship game, or has it just helped them succeed further in the tournament?
No, they've actually won a national championship game ever since they've been winning the Duck.
Really?
So the rumors are true, yep.
Wow, that's a pretty amazing feat there. That means they've won for the last 4 years then?
Yeah, they won Division 2. I think they won 3 titles in a row, and then it was Division 1 past season that they won at.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive feat there.
Definitely.
Coach, Billy Ballant, he's the leading scorer for your team, averaging 1.17 points per game. You think that he'll step up tonight and put one in the net for you?
I'm not sure if he'll put one in the net, but I know that what we're going to get out of Billy is a hard-working, full 60-minute game. He's done that all season for us. That's what we expect out of him tonight, and I know the guys playing around him expect the same thing. So, maybe we'll see him put the puck in the net, but if not, I know he's going to be out there contributing for sure.
Coach, you had defenseman Jacob DeSano quoted this week. He was talking about how it was tough losing in the playoff championship and seeing the trophy go back to Adrian. And he said that the Good Luck Ducks should be enough motivation to rebound back. And he put it simply that they just need to be calm and play Oakland hockey. What would you describe the brand of Oakland hockey as being?
Well, it changes every year. And for our team this year, type of Oakland hockey we get to play is we're a puck possession style team. When we're doing our forecheck and we have the puck on our sticks, it's when we play the best. So we're holding on that puck too long and not moving in the offensive zone is where we get into trouble in those games. So we try and emphasize with these guys to get in the offensive zone as fast as possible, get our forecheck going, and start cycling the puck, and that's when good things happen. Our offensive takes over.
Now, Coach, I talked to Jordan McDonald earlier this week. I was interviewing him as a preview for this game for the Oakland Post.
Okay.
And he said that one of the things you guys are going to be doing in practices were going over Davenport systems, going over their style of play. What can you tell us about the Panthers' style of play and what they're going to bring to the ice tonight?
Well, I mean, we definitely know what to expect from Davenport. They really haven't changed their systems at all. The only difference is we have seen a little bit of different line combinations over the past weekend. But, they play a fairly similar style to us. They do run somewhat of a forecheck offensive trap. But, their power play is strong, and they're pretty deep up front in the first couple lines. So I have to do a good job of matching lines up against them, and hopefully Corey has a good game on and that definitely get it tested throughout the game.
Coach, you mentioned your goaltender, Corey. Do you think that, obviously in a big game in hockey, you have to rely on that goaltender. He's got to step up and make some big saves. He doesn't have quite as much experience as your other goalie, Matthew Totter, but he is 9-6 this season, and he has a better save percentage, although facing less shots. Do you think that he will step up tonight and have a great game?
No, I definitely think he will. He's grown more confident as the season has gone by, and he has had the opportunity to play in some big games over the season, and he's played well. And We do have a coach that's been working with all of our goalies, and I think that's been helping, Corey develop as a player. He is younger, but, he's definitely adjusted to the speed of the game and to the speed of the shot. So we have a lot of confidence in tonight. We're definitely not worried at all.
Coach, when you talk about matching up lines with Davenport, they're led by their captain, Ben Dykstra, and he has 14 goals and 25 assists. Is he someone you single out, and is there anyone else on that Davenport team that you really, focus on shutting down?
As I said before, it's actually their top two lines are very good, and Dykstra is definitely one of the ones that we do key in on, and his entire line, I believe, is leading their team in points. And, we have to watch him on the point. He has a very good shot, but we will be, as I said, matching, all four lines. If they're running four, if they're running three, we'll be doing the same thing with our team, making sure we have the right combinations against them.
Now, Coach, we're running a little bit out of time here, but one more thing on the Good Luck Duck. What is something you'd say to our listeners right now to get them to come out to the game tonight? It's your senior night, it's your blackout game, your series finale against Davenport this season. Hopefully you're going to be bringing home the Good Luck Duck for Oakland. What would you say to listeners and fans of the sport itself to come out and see Oakland hockey tonight?
Well, I will say that it's an exciting game, and the pace is very high, and the guys work very hard. And the Good Luck Duck brings out the best of both of our teams, and these are college players. Some are upwards of 24 years old that are competing hard, have good athletic ability, and the game is fast and exciting. So we hope that a lot of listeners do come out, and if you haven't been here before, definitely come out to check it out at least one time. And it's fairly cheap to get in to watch the game, and we hope everybody can make it. Absolutely.
Now, just real quick, you're playing Mercyhurst next week, Friday, right?
Yeah.
In the first game of the national tournament. I'm just wondering, I know you don't want to look ahead of the game tonight, but looking forward to that, how do you guys prepare for a game against a team that you don't have that much experience against?
Well, it is a little bit tougher, and it's hard if you can't get some film on that team like that. But the staff is we have to look a little bit ahead when we're scouting teams, and just to look at their stats and their top players, and try and talk to other schools that they've played. But obviously with our team, we're focused and practice just on Davenport. But we have done a little bit of research on them, and as soon as we get over with the game tonight, we'll be focusing 100% of it on Mercyhurst and doing a little bit of scouting on Arizona State as well, because that would be the next opponent if we can get past Mercyhurst.
All right. Yeah, one last question for you. It actually comes from Topher Nowak. He's a listener, and he's a contributor to the show here at WXOU.
Okay.
I know it won't happen for a couple weeks, but he wants to know that if you guys win the Duck tonight, if you'd be willing to bring that into the studio.
I don't think that would be a problem. I think we'll have to let the senior class and the rest of the team paint it with the wonderful black and gold, and get the big O on front of that duck, and get the Davenport colors off it before they bring in the studio.
All right, absolutely. All right, well, I know we talked earlier this week. Hopefully I can get you on next week to preview the Mercyhurst game in the first round of the tournament. But with that being said, I'd like to wish you guys luck here tonight. I'll be there with Timothy Pontzer to cover the game for the Oakland Post, so I'll be seeing you later tonight. Just want to wish you good luck and have fun out there.
All right.
Thanks for the time, guys.
Thanks,
Yep.
Coach.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Coach.
Yep, take care, Coach.
Bye.
And we encourage all our listeners to come out tonight to the Onyx Ice Arena. The game is at 8 o'clock tonight against Davenport. And come out and support. They're encouraging all fans to wear black OU gear. And we hope to see you out there.
Yeah, it's only $2 to get into these games if you're an Oakland student. $7 for adults. Yeah, it's a pretty steep leap there, but it's actually worth it. You can ask Topher here if he wants to jump on the mic real quick. He's been to a few games with me. He saw the first game of the Davenport series. He saw the first game we went to was Buffalo. They were both blowout games.
That's all that they were. They were just blowouts. Like we went out, just hit everybody, but the fan
hit everybody. We saw one of the I think it was during the Davenport game. Saw Davenport get irritated and kick somebody.
He kicked somebody and then he punched him in the back of the head.
Was his last name Sue?
Man.
No, but he had long hair, looked like a girl.
Oh, Topher's calling people out. All right, well, we're going to go to a break here in just one quick second, but real quick, if you can't make it out to the game tonight, I guess OaklandHockey.org, the official website for Oakland's club hockey team, is going to have the game broadcast on air with Corey Haygood and Louis Fultz. And I haven't listened to it on air ever, so I don't know what it's like. I don't know the quality, but I know Haygood. He's a pretty good guy. I know he takes complete control of Tim. Damn. He takes complete control of the Oakland broadcasting, and he's a good guy.
Sure, they do a great job.
Yeah. Oh, they do. But, if you can't make it out to the game, just tune into oaklandhockey.org. They'll be broadcasting that game on there live. And we here at the Pit just encourage everybody to go out there. It's a fun game. You're listening to the Pit Sports Talk here on 88.3 WXOU Auburn Hills. We're going to take a break. We'll be back, talk a little baseball, basketball. It's going to be a fun second half hour. And welcome back to the Pit here on 88.3 WXOU Auburn Hills. I'm Damien Dennis, host of the Pit Sports Talk here with Austin Puckett and Timothy Pontzer. I want to thank Oakland Hockey there for allowing head coach Jeremy Bachusz to come on. I know I'm totally murdering his name right now. It's spelled kind of differently than the way you say it, so I'm having a hard time saying it properly. But I want to thank Oakland Hockey for letting coach come on. We're going to be going out to the game tonight, so it's going to be fun. Now, just real quick, that show we did last week, the 2-hour special, I've never done a 2-hour show before, and I think it went off pretty well.
It was fantastic.
Well, our YouTube version of that got almost 200 hits between the 3 videos we posted. There was the one of basically me and Tim ripping each other. That was actual footage that Jordan Reed from the Oakland Post shot of us in here.
That got the least views, as you might guess.
I'm pretty sure I was on air for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you were on there for about 20 minutes. I kind of threw you in the middle of that hockey interview last week.
I walked in to tell you that I needed some more time, and you were like, "Oh, here's our basketball specialist," and you started asking me stuff. And
that was the first time you came in.
Luckily, I came through.
Yeah, that was a great segment though. That first segment when you came in, when we just tossed you in for basketball, that was our highest rated video last week with almost 125 views. I don't think it was because of you. I think it was for the gentleman who's going to be calling in about 5 minutes, Brad Jeffers, the MLB Fan Cave finalist. Going to talk some baseball, spring training, probably some of that appeal news.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Braun.
Nope. You were going to say something.
All right,
Go for it.
Yep, Ryan Braun got his 50-game suspension. He appealed it, and they agreed with him, and he is going to be there for opening day.
There's a lot of criticism going around about that. What do you guys make of that?
Well, Major League Baseball came out and said that they vehemently disagreed with the ruling of the appeal. And, obviously they would if they convicted him for the 50-game suspension. But, I don't know what they said that he took. I heard that he took something that can show up on a drug test as being a steroid or a human growth hormone or, whatever it is that was illegal. But he claimed that the drug that he took was actually legal and simply appeared on the test to be illegal.
Well, as much as whether you agree with him or not, he came out today and he gave he addressed the media at the spring training camp in Arizona, and it was one of the best, speeches you can see a player's ever given in terms of after facing criticism like that. He was very well spoken. He didn't have any notes. He didn't stare at any teleprompters. It was just him alone at a podium on their field. And he was very defiant, but he was very well spoken, and he called the system flawed, and he defended his honor, basically, and he did a very good job in doing so.
Yeah, I think that's great when an athlete comes out and, talks about what they're being accused of, whether they are saying that they admit it or not. It's still great when they address the issue, and that's a lot of problems with the athletes that the media has with athletes is when they don't address the issue or they blame someone else for it.
Right, and it's a shame that it came down to this matter of the guy who took the sample and didn't report it that same day, which he's supposed to, for the drug test. And, he automatically wins his appeal. And, whether that's fair or not, that's the way the rules work. And obviously, a player of his magnitude, the story will, stand out more than if it was just some minor league pitcher. And hopefully the process can be bettered.
He was last year's NL MVP and batting title champion.
Now, we got Brad Jeffers. He just called in. He's on the air right now. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing wonderful, guys. How about yourself today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Now, we're sitting here talking about the Ryan Braun stuff. Just want to know your take on this. Throw you right in as soon as you call in.
Hey, I like it. With the whole Ryan Braun thing, it's really interesting. First, the issue that there's so much stuff that we'll never know just because of the confidentiality stuff that they have to do for Major League Baseball, which I respect. But it's crazy that, they're so adamant, Major League Baseball that is, that they were not happy that this got overturned. I'm not here to say, obviously, Ryan Braun, shouldn't have gotten it overturned because, again, there's so many questions that we'll never have answered. But I said all along, if the guy wasn't guilty of this, I feel terrible for him because I can only imagine what kind of strain that would put on you.
All right. Well, there's a lot of criticism about that. I think you just addressed that anyway. But, you personally, how do you feel about that?
About what, the criticism that he's getting?
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't know, you tied in with, like, the American judicial system. I think you're innocent until proven guilty. Just because something looks a certain way doesn't mean it necessarily is. When the news was first announced, I mentioned that, if it turned out that he was guilty, it's a huge black eye for Major League Baseball because you don't see stuff like this in major sports where stars and MVPs are being suspended for cheating. And, to have to deal with that, and I wrote a blog, like I said, when it first was announced, and I said, everybody's going to immediately assume the worst, but if he didn't do it, I think it's totally unfair that he's going to have to go through all the criticisms, and not just in the off season, like as the season goes on and as his career goes on, people are going to wonder from here on out, is everything he accomplished so far tainted? And we'll never know.
Yep. Now, you mentioned last week that you were going down for spring training for the Tigers, right?
Yes, I am live in Florida today, actually. I went to Lakeland on Tuesday, and I'm planning on going there again tomorrow morning.
Right.
Got to check it out a little bit on Tuesday. My schedule is a little conflicting since I landed that day. But, it was, if you haven't got a chance to go down to Lakeland to go to Joker Marchant Stadium, the facility is absolutely beautiful down there. Like, it's a pretty awesome facility that they have and everybody, and it's real open access-wise for the fans, so they get a chance to interact with the players, too.
Brad, Austin Puckett here. We talked last week. I'm actually going down to Florida on Sunday, and I'm going to hit up spring training some Monday or Tuesday. I'm not really sure yet.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. What kind of access do you have to the players down there? Can you, obviously you can watch in the stadium, but...
Right. They try to have it. They have a pathway between the clubhouse and the practice field where the players stop and, do autograph signings and stuff like that. You're not going to get a ton of stuff, I guess, unless you have a media pass. But I did hear that Tuesday they're supposed to be having Tigers Photo Day in Lakeland. So I don't know if that – I haven't exactly looked into it specifically since I know I won't be here. But I know they usually do one day every year where, players walk around and, you get to take pictures with the players and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, Tuesday would probably be the day to look into most if you can fit that into your schedule.
Yeah,
I heard that if you want to meet up with Miguel Cabrera, the local sports bar 2 blocks down is the best place to meet up with him. He's been there every night. Drinks are on him. It's him and Prince are there, and man, it's the best place in town.
I have not heard any reports of him going to any local bar or similar establishments, but I'd like to think Detroit fans forgave him for that. Last year they did. They had a driver for him, followed him everywhere, and unlike the fortunate circumstance with Josh Hamilton in Texas, where he had the big relapse and it created the negative light. At least Cabrera, for his sake, has shown a positive light from here on out, where you haven't had to hear any more murmurs or rumors that things were going on.
I'm pretty sure alcohol would be more of a problem in the Boston Red Sox clubhouse.
That and fried chicken.
Yeah, that and fried chicken.
If you believe the stories, it wasn't a problem last year.
So, for those of us other than Puckett over here who aren't going to get to go down and experience spring training, what's it like down there? You said a little bit what it's like, but do you get to watch them? Like, what do you get to do as a fan?
They have several different stadiums. Like, they have the actual stadium where, like, the Lakeland Flying Tigers, the minor league team, plays. And a lot of times they do on-work fielding drills, batting practice, pitchers throwing bullpen sessions and stuff like that. And you can actually sit in the stadium. It's all completely free. They don't charge you for anything. And then in the backfields, they have a lot of, like, when they have most of the pitchers doing their most side sessions and bullpen work, they have them in the backfield. You can't like stand next to them. For one of the fields, it's probably about 300 feet away, so you can see them, but you can't see them up close. And then they have two other fields where mostly their minor league prospects work, where you're probably about, imagine like sitting like at the dugout, like you can sit that close to the field. And when I was there, the pitchers were doing fielding practice drills. And, you're 50, 100 feet away from what's going on everywhere. But, they usually have different stations. Like outfielders might be working in one area, pitchers might be working in another area.
Just in case they make the World Series again, the pitcher actually has to pick up the ball and throw to first base.
Yeah, I think they realized in 2006 that's probably a good idea. And actually, Kenny Rogers was there this year in spring training, which he has been in the past as well. And he was working with pitchers on pickoff moves and defensive drills. And he was probably one of the best at both of those areas.
Did you happen to see Tony La Russa when he was there?
No, I did not. I actually talked to Buster Olney, and he said he was pretty much staying away from as much of the media as he could. But he was there when I was there, but he was interacting a lot with the front office people, not so much the players at that specific time. So I did not get to see him, but I was told he was there presently when I was.
Now, Brad, going into spring training, obviously the biggest new addition is the biggest player on the team in Prince Fielder. Now, because Prince came to the team, that moves Miguel Cabrera from first over to third base. And
right.
I've heard that, they had pictures of him in the free press this week. He's dropped 20, 30 pounds. They've been saying that he's been doing well, in the light workouts. But going into this season, what do you think is going to be the biggest story in spring training? I know that up here, a lot of people are talking about Brandon Inge maybe trying to compete for the second base job over Santiago.
Right.
What do you think is going to be the biggest position change? Do you think it'll be Cabrera competing at third? I mean, which is a space that he...
We're talking just specifically Detroit, just to clarify,
Yeah, just
right?
just
Okay.
Detroit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest... I mean, Cabrera is going to get a lot of talk, but until people see him play in game-time situations, once the games actually start up, I think you're going to hear a lot of that kind of talk die down. Because let's face it, if he's just fielding ground ball practice, he's going to be okay, because most Major League athletes can field ground balls. He did it when he was at first base. I think Inge makes the bigger story just because if he can't prove that he can play second base, there's a chance the Tigers might have to cut him or release him or trade him for basically a prospect. So I think that gives a lot more value to making the story, because everybody in Detroit either loves Brandon Inge or you hate Brandon Inge.
Right.
So, with Cabrera, I think a lot of people were expecting better things, but for Inge, it's really an unknown. I mean, Cabrera played third base for the Tigers when he got here.
Right.
Inge has never played second base ever. So is he going to be able to make that work? I mean, really, I think for Inge, you're going to see him, assuming he makes the opening day roster, he's going to become a utility player where he plays third base on days when Cabrera is either playing first base or DHing, when the opposing teams have a left-handed pitcher on the mound. And beyond that, I think you're just going to see him as a defensive substitution and giving guys an occasional day off.
You're listening to The Pit, 88.3 WXOU. Now, we're running out of time here with you, Brad. Real quick, you mentioned, you actually emailed me earlier today asking if you could call into the show because, I had actually forgotten that you're going to be down there for spring training this week, so I apologize for that. But you mentioned to me that you're now one of the 30 finalists in the MLB Fan Cave.
That is correct.
And we forgot to mention last week, by the way, that it was your birthday when you were in here, so happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yep. Now, I'm just curious, are you down there because of the Fan Cave, or are you just down there as a fan?
No, well, I booked this trip on Christmas Eve before I even knew I made the final 50. With the plan of coming down to see Lakeland a couple days, it was definitely a huge plan to visit, Tigers and see that, obviously, as a baseball fan. Making to Final 30, they're actually flying us out to Arizona next week, where we do final casting stuff for them. I'm flying out Tuesday and coming back on Thursday. And from those 30 in Arizona, based on our performances there, they're going to determine who gets to actually go to the Fan Cave.
All right, nice. Now, why don't you let our listeners know what they can do to vote for you?
Well, there's no more voting. That's the positive thing about this. But if people want to show their love and support, I suggest going to the MLB Fan Cave Facebook page or Twitter and just, saying, we want to see Brad Jeffers in the Fan Cave to, represent the Detroit Tigers. Because, let's face it, Detroit's a happening town in baseball, and, people are going to pay attention to what the fans want. And the fans need to get out and say that they want to see Brad Jeffers in the MLB Fan Cave this year.
Now, going here on out for this fan cave, how does the rest of the competition actually work? Does the MLB just choose, whoever they want to win? Or
From our understanding, how it's going to work is, like I said, we're flying out to Arizona, the 30 finalists, and they're going to have us do skill contests and competitions out there. We don't know what they're going to be. It could involve writing, interviews. It really could be anything.
Hopefully not you running and lifting weights, though, right?
Oh, let's hope not, because I'm only good with. I'm not so good at that yet. I'm getting better, but I'm not there yet.
They're going to see if you guys can field the hot corner, eh?
Right, yeah,
I hate to break this to you, but I heard that one of the judges is Jim Joyce. So be careful not to wear your Detroit gear during those competitions.
Let's hope he doesn't blow the call of getting me to New York, because that would be pushing the limit for all Detroit fans finally. Like, the ones that have forgiven would then just be in arms, and we don't need to have any riots in Detroit.
Brad, obviously our listeners here, they're all probably, Detroit Tigers fans, and we know that you're, going to rep the Tigers in the in the fan cave. Is there any other Detroit fans that are up for in the final 30?
There is one other guy. His name is Jay Chewy. He's from Clawson. I've only got a chance to speak with him once. There was 4 finalists out of the 50, but now there's only 2 left from Detroit. Jay Chewy is the other one, and then me. He's a good guy. I mean, we talked about it before, he and I, and really as long as we get somebody to represent Detroit, we'll both be happy. Obviously I'm hoping it's me. He's obviously hoping it's him.
Right.
But as long as we got some Detroit Tiger fan in there and we don't have to listen to another Yankee fan for an entire year, I think everybody will be happy.
So can only one of you guys make it?
Oh, we don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
I would guess they probably wouldn't take 2 people from representing the same town.
Right.
But
unless
we
it's
don't
New York,
know for
of course.
Sure. Right. Well, then, yeah. But we don't know for sure. I would think odds are that it would only be one of us or the either.
Right,
but
that would make sense.
It was in theory possible that we both could go.
Okay, yeah. I mean, everybody at the pit here wants you to get there, obviously.
Right.
Now, we're actually out of time for you this week, Jeff, but, or Brad, sorry. Guy. Sorry about that. Yeah, flipped them around. Anyway, we're out of time for you here this week, but, would love to have you call back in, maybe when opening day rolls around closer.
Hey, absolutely, man. You got my contact information. I got yours, and I'd be happy to talk baseball whenever you guys want.
Yep.
Hopefully from New York.
Yep, and actually, if you win, you're coming back on the show.
Sounds good to me, man.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thanks a lot, Brad.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Yep. You're listening to the Pit Sports Talk here on 88.3 WXOU. You just listen to Brad Jeffers. He called in from spring training. He's a pretty good guy. He's out there trying to fulfill his dream. We here at the Pit wish him luck. Now, we got to move into what Austin's been waiting for, actually. His Spartans are number 1 in the Big Ten for basketball.
That's true. I mean, we got a lot of college basketball going on. March Madness starts in, I believe it's 18 days is the play-in games with the 12-5 matchups and the 16 seeds in Dayton, Ohio. A few days ago we had the Spartans played the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Spartans fooled around for a little while on Minnesota's home court, played around. Typical on-the-road Big Ten basketball. But then they turned it on, beat the Gophers by, I think it was 5 points, and they just turned it on at the end, closed it out. Minnesota's a young team, and State showed how they had more experience, and they were able to pull it out. Their hopes for the outright Big Ten title for the regular season are still alive. They're a half game up on the University of Michigan and a full game on Ohio State, I believe. Mm-hmm. They still play Ohio State in the final game of the season, and They have a pretty difficult schedule. They still have to play. They play Nebraska at home tomorrow at 8:00, and they play at Indiana on Tuesday and Ohio State at home on Saturday, I believe.
Now, Puckett, see, your knowledge here is why I want you to write about Michigan State sports for the Facebook page. But Michigan State, you said they're playing Ohio State for the end of the regular season?
It's their final game of the season, and that could technically come down to who wins the title.
The game could probably have a bearing on you.
Right, and I'm personally, they've already beaten Ohio State on their home floor, and obviously Ohio State's a great team, but in the Big Ten, it's all about the road games. Now, so they still have to go at Indiana. Indiana's 24th in the country.
Yeah. But Indiana's a tough place to play in.
It's a very tough
place. I mean,
place.
they gave Kentucky their sole loss this season. There and Indiana, and Kentucky's the number 1 team in the nation. So I think that isn't. I mean, there's no guaranteed game. Even that game against Minnesota, while that wasn't,
anything on the road in the Big Ten is
Absolutely.
a difficult place to play.
So I mean, we'll see here, but a lot of people consider this Michigan State team to be one of the best that Izzo's ever put together in terms of talent, and he has a senior leading the team in Draymond Green, who has the ability to take over games on both sides of the court. He can hit the mid-range jumper, he can drive the lane, and he collects rebounds. In that game against Michigan, he out-rebounded the entire Michigan squad. I mean, he's definitely shining, and he's one of the best performers in the Big Ten this season, and he's leading them on their course this season.
Like I said last week, Michigan State has a lot of the key factors that a team needs in order to make a deep run in the tournament. They have, like Tim said, a senior leadership in Draymond Green. They have depth in the front court with Adrian Payne and Nix, and as well as Draymond Green. They also have, a guard play in Keith Appling, and he can, take over a game. He's very young, but I do think that in the tournament you could almost have a Corey Lucius type of performance, like Corey Lucius did a couple years ago when they made their Final Four run. Mm-hmm. But I think that the team's very well gelled together, and they have a lot of chemistry together. And I think that they could make a deep run in the tournament.
Now, you want to talk about senior leadership
on
a team.
You know where he's going.
In the state of Michigan. Let's talk about the leading scorer in the nation, in Reggie Hamilton. He's averaging 25.3 points per game. He's number 1 in the nation points per game. He's leading the Oakland offense right now. They're the 10th best in scoring in the nation, and they're second in total points scored with 2,381 points. Now, Michigan State, obviously, their premier school in terms of basketball. Reggie Hamilton has a chance to, continue to expand Oakland's name and try and put them on the map in terms of college basketball. While they're a mid-major, right now they're kind of on a hot streak right now, and they're heading into the conference tournament. They have one more game here coming up against who's their final? They played UMKC last night, and they won. And Reggie Hamilton in that game, he set the school record in terms of points in a season. He has 759 and 212 free throws, and he also surpassed 2,000 career points.
Now, I know you're talking about Reggie Hamilton, but that game last night against UMKC, didn't Oakland literally just dominate them that game? Didn't they beat them by like 20-plus points?
They were leading 50-15 at halftime. Reggie Hamilton.
No typos in that.
Reggie Hamilton had 31 points on the night. They ended up winning 89-56. And you had different people step up. Laval Lucas Perry, the other senior on the team, he made 4 3-pointers for his 17 points. And sophomore Travis Bader added 14. And Reggie Hamilton, while he went 5 of 11 from the floor, he made 3 3-pointers and was 18 of 22 from the free throw line in his 13th 30-point game. And he also he runs that offense having 7 assists. Going into the tournament here, right now they have a sole 1-game lead to take the 3rd seed in the tournament. Coach Campy was on Matt Pockett's show on Wednesday, and they were talking about they've won 4 straight league games. They lost their bracket buster game there in the middle, but he really wants to try and get to 20 wins this season. And they have one more game, and they could try and maybe win 1 or 2, if not win the whole tournament in Sioux Falls.
Now, you called me, it was yesterday, right? To talk to me about this, because I mentioned I wanted you to mention this on the show. You said that, and I think you were building into it. I just wanted to get a chance to talk, because I don't know, I don't know a lot about basketball, but you said that Coach Campy, to get that 20 wins for this season, you said he'd be willing to take, an NIT bid or one of these other secondary tournaments.
Like last year, they were big. The NCAA tournament or bust. They were led by Keith Benson, Will Hudson. They had a very good team last year, and they had their 2nd straight 20-win season. Right now, they're sitting at 16-14. They have one more game here at South Dakota on the 25th, and then they'll play this coming weekend in the tournament, the Summer League tournament. Now, if they can win against South Dakota, they'd be at 17, and hopefully if they could maybe win 1 or 2 games, if not the whole thing, they'd be sitting there at maybe 18 or 19 games. Coach Campy said that, despite like last year, this season he would be willing to accept a bid. Now, in order to go to the NIT, you have to finish 2nd in the regular season in your conference in order to get that auto bid. So they probably would not go to the NIT. But there's other postseason tournaments like the collegeinsider.com tournament that they went to a couple years ago. And Campy would be willing to accept a bit of that to not only try and reach that 20-win level, but also get some experience for some of the younger players in terms of postseason experience. Now, while it's not a big-name tournament where everybody's going to be filling out brackets, it still gives some of those younger guys, like a Travis Bader, that's going to be expected to carry more of the load next season, experience in the postseason.
And that's something that matters because, if these guys weren't getting that experience. This season you hear a lot of talk about Reggie Hamilton. A lot of the weight's on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
But the younger guys, this is Reggie's senior season.
It is.
So, once he's gone, all these younger guys have to step up and take the reins.
Well, there's a couple guys. There's a guy named Duke Mondi who is sitting out this season because he transferred. He might be a point guard next season. There's we don't know. That's in the future, but there's some area guys. You have Sakura, you have Corey Petros, who's a freshman, and he's really stepped up in some of these past games, collecting rebounds. On against UMKC, they out rebounded them 42-27. But he has, it's a good young team. Next season, Drew Valentine will be the senior, and he'll be that team leader. And definitely losing guys like Lucas Perry and especially Hamilton hurts. But I think that if they could make a run here, carried by Reggie Hamilton. That's what mid-major tournaments are known for, is like a hot scorer who can carry your team. But getting that experience would be very valuable for those players moving forward.
Absolutely. Now we're running out of time here, so final thoughts. I'll start with you, Austin. Final thoughts on Michigan basketball and Big Ten basketball. Michigan State, sorry.
I just think that, like I said before, the Spartans have a great shot in this right now. They're a number one seed, or they're the number one team right now. They have 3 games left. They play 2 tough teams and one, Nebraska. But I think that if they go 2-1, they can at least share the title.
For Oakland, I think that they should be able to win against South Dakota tomorrow. And then going into the tournament, I think that right now, they're riding a hot streak. If they won tomorrow, that would be 5 straight league wins. And with the last 2 being, the last 2 being on the road. Going to Sioux Falls, they've had success there before. They've won it the past 2 seasons. They're not expected to win it this season. You have a team, Oral Roberts, that this is their last league or their last year in the league. They're the sure favorites according to many of the people, but hopefully Oakland can carry some of the momentum they have right now going into this tournament.
Absolutely. Now, I'm assuming all of us here would like to see Oakland pretty much get that New York Giants type hot streak, go all the way to win it. It's a little bit, it's a little bit unplausible, but
I don't think it is. Like I said before, I think if you have a guy who can carry, a score like Reggie Hamilton, who can carry that mid-major team through there, and if they get in me and Puckett have talked about this before, if they get in a 12-5 matchup, I could see Oakland pulling an upset. Now,
Oakland gives every team they face a run for their money.
Absolutely.
And every year the tournament, there is a 12-5 upset.
And absolutely.
Yep.
And Reggie Hamilton, he has shown that, yes, he's the leading scorer, but he's not just putting up points against these small Summit League teams. Against that Tennessee game here at Oakland, he scored 35, and he scored 29 against Michigan. Yep. So he definitely can step up on a big stage.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Pitt Sports Talk. I'm Damien Dennis. You can follow me on Twitter. Got Timothy Pontzer and Austin Puckett. You can follow on Twitter, too.
And don't forget to come out to the hockey game tonight at the Onyx at 8 o'clock.
Big thanks to head coach Jeremy Bachusz for coming on. Still killing his name. And Brad Jeffers for coming on, talk a little bit Major League Baseball. Follow us on Facebook. Just look up the Pitt Sports Talk with Damien Dennis or YouTube. We'll talk to you next week at 5 p.m. on Friday.